para los participantes, hola, ¿qué tal? La gente que se está conectando, bienvenidos. Vamos a esperar unos 5 minutos más a ver quién más va entrando y en breve comenzamos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí y por esperar un ratito. So, I mean, this is like the first activity we do after. It was, it was very sudden for Hiroshima because we were our last show was on February 4th, February 15th, with Asa Jackson as an artist from Philippines. She was performing in Hiroshima, and that was the last show, like 1 month, before the lockdown. No, sorry, it was another artist from Barcelona, Miquel Barcelona, who was performing also. But it was very sad, and I didn't go back to Hiroshima.
To the place. Yeah.
I'm really missing, the space in itself,
Physical.
So some people is joining us here. Okay. So this is going to be like the first public activity for us.
And how long should this talk be? Is there?
It's like half an hour and 40 minutes, whatever we feel like. But when we do it in live version, is it lasts like a little bit more. But I always say like it should last like no more than 40 minutes. But sometimes, as we are there and we are drinking and people, but between half an hour and 40 minutes, no more than that.
Cool.
That should be it. And let's wait for 2 or 3 more minutes. So where are you now, Ana Rita?
Well, I have a house near the seaside, near Sesimbra.
Oh, I mean, I love there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's super nice. Do you know Meku?
I'm not sure. I mean, I have doing a trip and I visited many villages, but this one doesn't.
Actually, I am in a place where there's a lagoon. If you go after to Google Map, you will see Sesimbra, and a little bit up, there's a big lagoon that enters, that goes to the sea. Oh, wow. And there's a dune that blocks the lagoon from the sea. And now, for example, they are opening the lagoon to the sea. So they close it during winter, and in the summertime they open. And it's great for kids because you have the sea that's very rough, but the lagoon is super quiet. Wow. Unless you go to the entrance of the lagoon, where there's always a little bit of current, and you always see a lot of kids like flowing in the currents. It's very, very, very nice place. Oh, I just bought a house with my boyfriend 1 year ago because Lisbon was so expensive that it was better to buy in the countryside. So crazy.
No, it's incredible. I mean, when I've been there last summer, we were shocked.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're crazy, and everything changed so fast.
Yeah, so fast.
There are still some buildings, that you imagine that you can, restore or someone, but the prices are, I mean, insanely high.
It's absurd. Yeah.
For a city that it used to be like very
like Barcelona, it was
humble and gentle, and I mean, it's still beautiful. It's so beautiful, but it was discovered.
Yeah, and it put apart the population.
It's very sad. We've been talking to people, with some cultural projects there, and they all say that they are struggling with the rent and the depression, all the
Yeah.
But 37. I think that we can start already.
Good.
Somehow I'm going to ask my people. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to just speak a few words in Spanish for the people who joined us. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Para mí es bastante complicado este formato. Primero, porque no me gusta para nada verme en cámara. Segundo, porque tengo muchas ganas de volver a veros y a encontrar a los compañeros de profesión, al público, y a estar en presencia, en cuerpo y presencia, y disfrutar de todo lo que implica ir al teatro y encontrarse y celebrar el hecho de poder hacer teatro, que es lo que más nos gusta. De todas maneras, hemos pensado que queríamos estar en contacto con vosotros de manera muy puntual. No vamos a proponer tampoco... es muy difícil para nosotros proponer formatos que no sean presenciales, porque como ya sabéis, la mayor parte de nuestra programación se centra en el cuerpo y en el movimiento, así que es bastante... tendría poco sentido. O habría que pensar, digamos, formatos muy específicos para la cámara. Así que estos serán encuentros muy puntuales que haremos simplemente para mantener la relación con vosotros a lo largo del tiempo y esperando volver muy pronto. Como sabéis, el Festival Grec se tira adelante, pero sin las salas más pequeñas, digamos, de la ciudad. Por tanto, no abriremos hasta probablemente fines de septiembre. Donde comenzaremos actividades como formación y cursos, entrenamientos, y el 3 y 4 de octubre presentaremos a esta maravillosa artista que hoy vamos a conocer un poco. Muchísimas gracias por venir, espero poderos ver entonces en octubre y bueno, como siempre, ya sabéis que este formato empieza con 3 preguntas que suelo hacer al artista relacionadas a su manera de hacer, a su manera de trabajar, a sus referentes, a sus ideas sobre lo que es la danza contemporánea. Pero en este caso especial, no esperéis tampoco a que termine de hacer estas preguntas. Por favor, interrumpidnos en cualquier momento, ya sea mediante el chat o levantando la mano. Tenéis un icono de levantar la mano. Estaré atento a ambos inputs y bueno, y podéis ir comentando a la medida que nosotros vamos hablando. So, Ana Rita, thank you so much for accepting this challenge. Let's say this first approach of the theater to these formats. For us, is completely new, and I'm very glad to have the opportunity to talk to you. We are very excited about your work and about your presentation in October. Actually, for us, it was. We wanted to present something very special, very intimate, a little show, little shuri, and we found your work and we think that it's perfect to open our season. And I want to start talking a little bit about the inspiration of the work. This travel, this trip, and these recordings from the 60s done with these women around the country, around Portugal. And I would like to start talking about the relation with the past, how the past is present in the piece, is present on stage, and how do you work with all this beautiful material?
Hola a todos y todas. Thank you for inviting me. And so I'm going to speak English because my Spanish is more or less. I think you can ask questions and if you don't understand anything. So I'm very happy also to present this work in Barcelona And in Spain, it's also one of the first times I will present this work in Spain. And so ASSOMBRO, it's a piece where I sing songs that I collect. There's one part of these songs, they are songs collected by a musicologist called Michel Giacometti in the 60s and 70s. He also made a TV program called El Pueblo que Canta. And he was showing with this TV program many people singing in the countryside. So I collect from his collection, especially songs where women were singing alone with no musical instruments that were accompanying. And when I start to listen more to these songs, I noticed that they had like a twist about their own conditions as women. They were talking about their condition as women, but also sometimes they were having a gesture of emancipation. And actually, when we talk about traditional song, cultural traditional songs, at least in Portugal, we talk a lot about the work songs, the songs that were sing to make better the work. Either the olives or the work with the animals.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just saying that it's a little bit like the songs from the cotton fields, right? Like
Yes.
this gesture of singing as you're working, right?
Yes, to bring the collective and make the work easier. But actually these songs for me, they are emancipating songs. They are emancipating the woman from her social condition. And the portrait of a woman of that time, it's like a good mother, devoted to God, devoted to her family, and also always related to the nature more. She will take care of the flowers, of the kids. She's not made for hard work, even though she was doing hard work. So these songs, like for example, there's one song where the woman is birthing her kids, is putting her kids to sleep, but she's also speaking with her lover in the other side of the window. So she's hiding her lover in making her son to sleep. And also some songs are just saying like because a woman can't singing is a sin. She shouldn't show joy. She should if she sings, she goes far away from God. So she shouldn't sing. So all of this, but she says in the song, but I sing because I need to live. I need the song to be alive. So I don't care about God. Somehow she's saying that. Yeah, so this was my attachment to these songs. And then I went further in the research and I found more contemporary musicologue that is called Tiago Pereira, and he's making a project still going on where he goes filming a lot of people in Portugal that make traditional music and also contemporary music. And I listened to his collection, so I add more songs to my own collection of women singing solo and these emancipation ideas of the music. And I met Tiago, and we were kind of very interested in the work of each other. So he decided to take me to travel with him in Portugal, and also to meet some women that were singing the songs that I had heard and learned. So I have this video, Gaston, I think you can share it.
Yes.
So he made me met this woman, is called Adélia Garcia, and she was also recorded by Michelle Giacometti in the 60s or the 70s, when she was a lot more young, of course.
Do you see the video?
Yes.
Ai, minha mãe mandou uma fonte, a fonte do salgueirinho. Ai, mandou-me lavar a canta com a flor do romarinho. Ai, eu areia com areia e corei um bocadinho. Ai, anda cá, terra traidora, onde tinhas o sentido. Ai, não o tinhas tu na roca, nem tampouco no sarilho. Ai, tinhas luz naquele mancebo que anda de amores contigo. Ai, minha mãe não me bata com vara de marmeleiro. Ai, que eu estou muito doentinha, manda chamar o barbeiro. Ai, o barbeiro já vem com a lanceta na mão. Ai, para sangrar a menina na veia do coração. Ai, o barbeiro já lá vem e na mão traz uma lanceta. Ai, para sangrar a menina na veia da paspalheta.
It's beautiful. Very nice. Very beautiful. Very, very interesting. Also, the way. First of all, I like to underline how the importance of the archive and how contemporary artists tends to work with archives in research. And I think this is your piece. It's very exemplifies very well what to work with an archive means. And that's beautiful, because it's I think it's a very contemporary way to work. Actually, it's contemporary is for us to look into the past from the present. So it's a way to bring the past to the present. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And then what I really like from this video is how you use this gesture, this simple gesture with the step, and suddenly the context change completely, and how you can give a totally different meaning to a folkloric expression. That's beautiful.
Yes, I think I would add that. So because also your question was about the past and the present, and that actually these songs are totally forgotten. When I sing in Portugal, these songs, no one almost know them, and many people don't understand what I'm saying. They understand briefly, but sometimes the Portuguese is so old. Like this song is from the north of Portugal, so sometimes has mixtures with Spanish. Like she would say perra, como una perra traidora. Y eso no se dice en portugués, es una cadela. Entonces, por veces tiene como palabras que son un poco más antiguas, que se misturan, y los portugueses cuando escuchan, por veces no perciben muy bien. And also these songs, they were taken and they were put it in music parameters. Like when we are singing, both of us, there's no parameter. Each one is singing with their own parameter that is totally intuitive and how we learn. So we also try to get together in the same song, but actually it's the same song, but we didn't learn the same song.
Wow.
Because there's no metric, there's no written. It's also made with this very weird intonations and variations that are totally individual and singular. And so the importance of bringing these songs, and for me, one is to activate them, but also with the gesture is to liberate the woman from this traditional conception that is still very present in our society. So it's also looking at the past to see what we have now, and that what we have now, it's not coming from nowhere, is coming from a past. And there's already a lot of women that were trying to question this social condition through these songs. And some of the songs, that's why the gesture is coming to give another push to this emancipation idea.
To boost somehow the idea behind. It's beautiful, and I think that it's a very nice way and very respectful way to work with an archive. I think it's really exemplifying which that means. So how is somehow, I mean, the title of the piece in different languages, it changes it's very subtle, but it changes somehow the idea, because you translate it for French as fantôme méchant, and for English to shame. So shade. So, but there are slightly differences between one title and the other, and with Assombro also. Can you explain these variations between the ideas and the title?
Yeah, actually, there's no good translation for the word asombro in other languages. I don't know how it would be in Spanish.
Presencia,
Asombro.
aparición,
¿Cómo?
aparición, presencia.
No, porque asombro es ser asomado por la sombra. It's to be hunted by the shadow.
Okay.
It's being hunted by the shadow. So shades in English, the translation to shades is more like shadow, but actually what it means is to be hunted by the shadow. So in Portuguese, it has this very strong sense that is something that is like coming down to you, almost like a voodoo thing. It's transforming you.
Okay, totally.
But it comes from a shadow. It comes from something dark that it's the darkness of a presence, like the past or...
It's a beautiful word.
Yeah, it's very nice. And in French, I call it the bad ghost somehow, because also the question of the translation is very different, but also because there's a lot of playfulness, and that's, I think the title will bring it a little bit more irony, because also one thing is when we are perceived as perceive a tradition in our own country, and one thing is when this tradition is perceived in another country. And I thought that a title that would be a little bit more dark would go with this idea of the fado and the sadness of Portugal and the saudade, and actually almost I think one or two fados, but the songs are not really coming from fado. They're coming from different regions of Portugal. So I thought that in French, this title, the bad ghost, or it would like bring this more ironic
of it. I would like to know what, or ask you about the choreographic concept in relation to this music base of the piece. The piece is basically musical. So what is the connection with choreography? How is the concept working with in regard to that?
So I'm working with the ideas of dissociation. Mainly this idea of being hunted or being like a ghost appearing in my body is the main motor for the choreography. So I use like a ventriloque. There's a ventriloque aspect in some of the songs. So I just fix, and like the song is coming through my body. And also like working with like ghost parts of the body, like one hand that is coming from nowhere and is doing things, or there's the eyes that are doing something and the legs are doing something else. So there's like this dissociation aspect that it seems that the body is being, it's not, that the body is not there, and it's being hunted or traversé.
Oui, traversé, atravesado, like,
atravesado por otras presencias que están en los ojos, en la boca, en los brazos, en las piernas, y son sobre todo figuras un poco quietas, pero que tiene estas sutilezas de parecer que la figura está activa en muchos sitios en el mismo tiempo. Así. También hay un momento musical que es más danzado, donde siento trabajar con un cuerpo muy volátil y también un poco fantasmagórico, así muy, muy ligero, muy leve, con presencias muy sutiles de formas. Y ese es los aspectos coreográficos que van cruzando estas canciones.
Súper interesante el concepto, muy, muy interesante. Y luego la última pregunta que quería hacerte era about the ornaments or the little objects that appears, like, yeah, the pieces of paper, scotch, and of course the phallos and all these materials that appear as symbols in the piece. And well, how do they work aesthetically? Which is the concept of these little objects appearing?
Yeah, actually, I think I wanted to bring some kind of queer appearance also, because we are also in our emancipation nowadays is passing through the acceptance of queer bodies and queer people. And so I think this body that I present is mainly talking about women, and it's a fight of women, but it's also a fight against toxic masculinity. And there's also some songs about, there's one song about one man that is singing to pay for a woman. And so he's singing and saying, if your father gives me a white horse, I will love you. Or, and if your father gives me a red horse, I will love you. So this idea of buying the woman. So I wanted to create this figure that it's a little bit, crossing, being a woman, being a man, being an animal. And so there's some elements like the scotch. It's also making a weird makeup, but they are also making sometimes the idea of a broken puppet. So they are more like figures for to transform, to make some transformation, a little bit like the drag.
Yeah,
drag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of the queerness is very interesting as a way for female body to emancipate in our modern times. That's very interesting too. So I mean, to underline a little bit what you have said, it's the idea to work with an archive and to work with dissociation for choreography, and also to work with this idea of how female bodies can emancipate, or is showing their emancipation in our society nowadays. About the queerness is very interesting. I mean, these three ideas, I found them very, very, very interesting and powerful. No sé si alguien de los que está aquí presente quiere hacer una pregunta. El formato es muy raro, pero bueno, si alguien quiere atreverse a preguntar, es un poco frío, pero bueno, bienvenido si alguien quiere preguntar. Y si no, no pasa nada, porque todavía tenemos un pequeño vídeo para mostrarles y que Ana Rita quiere compartir con vosotros. Así que si nadie hace una intervención en el chat, además de Agnès, que está preguntando sobre el formato en Facebook, veo. Bueno, ya nos leeremos bien todas las... la Agnès pregunta... Vale, m'agradaria saber en què ciutat la Ana Rita desenvolupa la seva feina. They want to know where do you work, basically, where do you research, what is your base?
Actually, my base is changing because for the last 3 years I was associated artist from CND, Centre National de Danse, that is in Pantin near Paris, and so I work a lot in France. I have a big relation with the French audience and French scene, but I try mostly to work in Portugal, but I have seen that my work is having more presence in France, so I divide myself between the two countries. And research-wise, I also research a Japanese dance called Buto. So I have a very strong relation with Asia, with Japan, and also with artists from Taipei. So I mainly focus between Portugal, France, and Japan, Taipei.
Para Agnès, que estaba preguntando, la ciudad es Pantin, es un distrito en la banlieue parisienne. Hay un centro coreográfico nacional ahí muy importante, un centro nacional de desarrollo coreográfico muy importante allí, que de hecho, bueno, es un faro para los jóvenes coreógrafos y que tienen una labor internacional muy importante. Ana Rita ha sido durante 3 años, ¿no?, artista asociada a ese centro nacional, y allí tiene su base de investigación, aunque por lo poco, it's true that for the little that I know your work, you seem to do efforts to go back to Portugal and to be in touch with Portugal culture and with Portugal artists, and you're very involved with a group of choreographers there. And even if I see that you are very, very appreciated in France, and they really like your work and they support your work, even like that, you seem to make an effort to don't leave Portugal.
Yeah, I think we need to work a lot here.
He's asking where are you from in Portugal, from which is your city?
So I live in Lisbon, but actually I'm also from the periphery of Lisbon. But my family is from Beira Baixa, Castelo Branco. It's interior Portugal, near Spain. So I also have had already a connection with somehow to traditional songs and from these regions.
With these regions, which are actually, we were talking about this region before because I happened to make a trip last year over there, and I fell in love with this area from both sides, from the Spanish side and the Portuguese side, are both beautiful. And it's true that it's a very interior feeling. I mean, the sensation is to be in a inland, to be very much inland, and where still you can find reminiscences of this old world, this old rural world we are leaving behind. So it's interesting that you are from there, because I can see there is a connection with all this rural culture, which may tell us a lot about ourselves as contemporary society.
Yes.
So, creo que si nadie más tiene ninguna pregunta, vamos a ir abandonando la sala porque ya se nos ha hecho un poco tarde. Había prometido que no duraría más de 40 minutos. And as we don't have a beer to end the night, we are going to be punctual, and we are going to follow the schedule. First, I'm going to say goodbye. Do you want me to play the video just to say goodbye to the people?
I think it can be possible, maybe just to give the context that it's also a rehearsal.
Of course. But we are going to say goodbye to the people in the room with a beautiful video about the process, the creation process that Ana Rita is going to share with us. It's a process, as I say, that you have to know it's about a rehearsal, but I think it's very beautifully done, as you can see actually a phantom in the video, and there are some phrases also, there are some subtitles that explains about the process. And I'm going to say goodbye to you also. We are going to play the video and say goodbye to you, Ana Rita. Thank you so much for participating, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation. We are very much looking forward to welcome you in Spain. Okay?
Yes, thank you. I'm so looking forward to be there. And thank you to all the people that were watching and listening.
So let's say goodbye with this video, and happy and nice weekend for all of you. Goodbye.
Thank you.